Some cities are looking for a new way to get crime under control this summer, violence interrupters. So what are these groups and what do they do? We spoke to violence interrupters in New York to find out.
Not in my hood, not on my block. Enough is enough.
If one of us is not okay in the community, the rest of us is not okay.
Racial injustice is on the forefront of media everywhere you look. It's on the lips and tongues of people around the world right now. And police brutality has gone viral. So we see people demanding for structural change in light of the many George Floyds and the many men and women of color that we see abused by police. So it's come to a culmination, it's come to a boiling point, and there has to be transformational change. There has to be a redirection of resources, and the people will not accept anything less than that. So when we move around as violence interrupters in the community, as human justice ambassadors in the community, as those who are connected to, dedicated to uplifting our community, I think we're received warmly now because people are ready for an alternative. Community groups like CCD and 696 Bill Queensbridge are the future of public safety. When you have these alternative ways to address issues on a preventative side, you see a whole new reality open up. So we're able to be in positions to negotiate conversations and truces and kind of put out fires in ways that law enforcement couldn't even approach.
My mother was she had problems with substance abuse, and I never really had a father, so I grew up in a community with the high risk, the young people that were out committing crimes and doing those atrocities. And as a result of that, I wound up doing 16 years of my life in prison. I've always had a stubborn attitude towards any type of authority, but then K. Bain showed me that there's a different type of way that this program works, and remaining with our credibility, not dealing with the authorities, that was the key thing that made me say I can do this, because I figured that I can make a difference that the NYPD can't make, the nurses, the teachers, and the schools can't make, because I was the same person that those young people were. So they know that, so they can identify with me.
We saw people who had leadership skills that were laying dormant, that weren't being activated, and we're expert engagers that pulled them into the conversation and channeled some of those skill sets. So in 2017, we did actually go, I think we surpassed a year without a shooting or homicide, and that got a lot of recognition. I think part of that recognition should have been placed on the culture shift that we were a part of. It's easy to measure and to quantify how many days go without a shooting. It's a little more difficult to look at how many mindsets have been awakened or inspired or opened up.
My name is Tribe Gangster, aka Sean Duke McFadder. That's my government. I ain't got no problem saying it. The police know it. The streets know it.
Today we have a shooting response, and the importance of us coming together and mobilizing the community around a shooting response is that for too long it's been the norm that people get shot, violence happens, and we just continue as business as usual.
And I was part of the problem in a major way.
Well, the shooting response is breaking that norm and saying that anytime an act of violence happens, we as a community have an obligation to denounce it, to step out. It is a big deal. We will not accept it, and we will not stand for it.
Why is nobody tired? Why is everybody not tired as one? We lost up to like 5 people in the last 2 years. The shooting response that went on today, it was basically in remembrance of Money Mags, aka Hefe, aka Magdi. And we were just trying to get the community to recognize that if one is not okay, we're really not okay, and that we definitely do need to come together, because this is it's not okay, it's senseless. And that's what we're working on. Our mission is to change the community norm, which starts with changing mindsets.
Believing in people, investing in people, supporting people produces outcomes that are undeniable. There's a shift right now for good reason. Society is acknowledging the fact that we have been doing things in ways that are not effective. So our responsibility and obligation right now as a society is to focus on putting people first, people before possessions, people before things, people before budgets.
Governor Evers declaring a state of emergency in Wisconsin and ramping up the National Guard presence there ahead of what may be a third night of protests in Kenosha. This is damage from last night's demonstrations. Folks there taking to the streets after Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old black man, was shot in the back by police on Sunday. Blake's father says today that his son is paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors don't know if that condition is permanent. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster joining me from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Shaq, Blake's family and their attorney spoke this afternoon. What did they say?
Well, we really got the largest or most extensive view or update on Mr. Blake's condition that we've heard so far. And as you mentioned, his father saying that he's paralyzed, his family saying that his situation is essentially dire, that he may never walk again because one of the bullets went through his spine. We heard from the from the lawyer who gave us a medical update and said that he is in the hospital right now. He actually is in surgery. They said as we are speaking right now, he was rushed to surgery by surprise. But the real thing and the real note is you heard from the mother calling on the community to send their prayers his way. They're saying he needs them right now. They did have a conversation. She did have a conversation with him when she visited him in the hospital a little bit earlier. But they're still saying that his situation is dire, and they're calling for the community to send prayers his way. Listen to a little bit of what his mother and father said just a couple of minutes ago.
7 times. 7 times. Like he didn't matter. But my son matters.
We really just need prayers. As I was riding through here, through the city, I noticed a lot of damage. It doesn't reflect my son or my family.
We also learned in that press conference that the police did ask the family for a statement, but the family has not heard many details from the police in terms of what happened on that Sunday evening, what caused the shooting. And remember, we keep coming back to this point, that extremely sad point, that his 3 kids were in the car when he was shot. Well, we learned from his father today that one thing that his 8-year-old son keeps asking to his grandfather is, why did the police shoot my daddy in the back? It's a heartbreaking situation, and the family said, you know, those kids are going to definitely need some attention after what they witnessed. Allison?
Oh, just an unbelievable thing for young kids to experience, Shaq. You're absolutely right there. Right. You mentioned this earlier today. Police in Kenosha don't have body cameras. This is an issue that has been dragging on for some time in the state. What is the conversation right now about those cameras since Jacob Blake was shot?
I've had a couple different conversations about these cameras because, yes, we know, and that's something that we look for after one of these police shootings. We look to see if there were police cameras, body cameras, if those cameras were activated. And here in Kenosha, there are no body cameras for police officers. I have a source connected to the politics here and talking to the city council. They say that this has been a topic of discussion for several years at this point, going back to about 2012, active debate for a call for those officers to wear and to have those cameras. The mayor yesterday, while talking at a press conference and talking to members of the community, the mayor said that the cameras are budgeted for the 2022 budget year. So we still have some ways away until we get any sense of body cameras. But there has been a call for body cameras. It seems like there is now going to be movement here on the body cameras. Of course, that doesn't help us understand what happened in this situation. The other element to this is we don't know if there was dash camera video available. We know the police were responding to that domestic incident. That's what we heard in that statement that they released on Sunday evening after the shooting, but we don't know if there's any other dash camera video in their possession, or if any other community members gave them video of other angles of what happened. We only know that right now 2 camera angles, 2 cell phone video angles that have been made public, but what the police know, what they have found in their investigation, we just simply don't know at this point. Allison?
So, Shaq, let's talk about tonight. What are the concerns on the streets of Kenosha tonight?
Well, you mentioned it at the top. Governor Tony Evers, he signed an emergency order. We're in state of emergency here in Wisconsin. Yesterday, he already deployed about 125 National Guard members out to help protect property, to help assist local law enforcement. Well, that number is now going up to about 250 members who will be deployed tonight. And he says that he'll continue to send resources as requested by local officials here. What you're hearing from local officials, they continue to take that tough tone. And I can tell you, many of them are probably hoping that people were listening to what you heard from Jacob Blake's mother there, who you heard it in the sound, but as she was driving around town, she saw the buildings that boarded up. If you go downtown, each building has wood over the glass. So if you drive around town, you not only see businesses boarding up, you see the destruction from last night. We were in uptown Kenosha earlier today, and you saw block after block of buildings just completely burned, completely ruined. And you heard from his mother that plea for, hey, this is not reflective of Jacob. It's not reflective of their family, and a call to end the destruction and violence that we've been seeing. We'll see what happens tonight. We know that usually we have by day those peaceful protests. There's some people in the park behind me with signs up right now as we speak, but what we've seen is that pattern. It shifts from the peaceful protest by day to the destruction overnight. Local officials are intent on stopping the destruction and stopping that cycle to make sure it doesn't extend to a third night. Allison?
All right, Shaq, we hope that it doesn't. We hope everyone there stays safe, yourself included. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.